I use it for my union work. So nothing ever really gets done.
Nice. Hey, this is Wicked Spursy, Mike, Steve, and Dave. On that note, Steve, how you doing, buddy?
Doing well, Dave. Doing well. I had a pretty solid weekend. Solid Mother's Day as well. So happy
Nice.
belated Mother's Day to any other mothers out there who might be listening to this.
Absolutely.
So I promised you guys a story, and I will share this story with you. So, for Mother's Day, my wife, she's not really into like knickknacks and, things that would just clutter up the house. Like if you're going to get her something, it has to be something practical, something that she's going to use, or an experience. So this time I opted for an experience. We took a drive out to the islands and we visited Snow Farm Vineyard and Winery, which is an absolutely gorgeous location, by the way. It is just beautiful spot, just green as far as you can see. It's quiet, not a lot of traffic around at all.
Steve, my ignorance, which town on the islands is that located in?
I have absolutely no idea. It's right around like South Hero.
It is South Hero, I believe.
It is South Hero? All right, gotcha.
Well, there's a town between them called Grand Isle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's South Hero, Grand Isle, North Hero.
Yeah, I can never keep track of any of it. Anyway, so we're out there, a beautiful setting. We all got taster flights of wine, so we could try a couple of different varieties. And it was Mother's Day, so she got it for free, which I did not know going into it. I thought I was going to be paying for her to have a sample. But no,
which you were totally willing to do, right? That was you were
totally
happy to do
willing
so.
to do it. But she got it for free, so that was great. We let Isaac run around in the field, pick dandelions, do whatever. And we're sitting there sampling this wine, and this isn't the first time we've done a wine tasting before. We've hit up a couple of the wineries in Vermont. And we have a similar reaction every single time. I don't know that we can tell. Well, let me rephrase. We can definitely tell the difference between a really high-end, classy wine and just boxed wine that you could get for like $5 at the grocery store. And the way that we can tell is that the boxed wine is so much better. Like, it's just,
that's my man right there.
Maybe I just don't have the sophisticated palate to appreciate it, but we're sitting there sampling it, and we're reading the little descriptions, and it's like, you're going to taste, these notes of plum and blueberry, and you're going to get this nice dry sensation. And I'm sipping these wines, and I'm like, this tastes like ass. Like, this just does not taste good at all. Which, maybe it's just the wines that I picked, but, I've had a similar reaction every single time I go out. Every single time the, person offers up a suggestion like, oh, this is my favorite wine, you should try this one. It's never good. I would much rather just have the $5 boxed wine. But we did find some. There was a dessert wine that she absolutely loved. This, it was, with maple infused. I don't know how they do it, but she was really into that, really sweet. And I found it wasn't a rosé, but it was called like Rose Red or something. But that one was pretty good. So we were able to find something that we liked at least.
That's one of their flagships. It's really good, actually.
Yeah, that one I really liked.
Did you bring anything home, Steve? That's kind of the real test on how it went.
No, we didn't, but that's mostly because she stocked up on her favorite wine, which is from Due North Vineyard, also up here in Franklin County, and it's called Red Sundress. She loves that wine. She literally went to the winemaker's house to buy it from him because he's local to us. So no, it was a good Mother's Day, good experience. We're glad we got out there. We would totally go again. I mean, if you like wine, I'm sure there's, stuff there for you, but just to like sit and enjoy the outdoor space in that beautiful location, that's worth the price of admission itself. So gorgeous time, great space. If you're ever up in in the islands in Vermont. Check them out, Snow Farm Vineyard. I'm sure you'll find something you like. And they're super nice, super helpful. Really appreciated them.
Nice. Thanks for sharing that. So, Steve, what I'm taking away from this is Franklin County, northwestern Vermont, wine good, elected officials bad. Is that the correct assessment there?
Yeah, our elected officials kind of suck too. They
Like
suck
you
more than
got two
some that
guys up for impeachment right now. Is that what I'm hearing correctly? Is that how that's?
Well, one of the guys nobody wanted to vote for to begin with, but he was literally the only name on the ballot, and neither party could. Literally, both the Republicans and Democrats were trying to push for a separate write-in candidate, but
And
they
couldn't pull it off. Couldn't get it together.
That's the state of our politics. But
and then the other guy I read about, I think he had the classic comment of like, well, the world's been changing and I guess it finally caught up to me and I can't say the things I used to say. Like, all right, that's classy. That's exactly who you want to have.
Just fucking retire already, dude. Like, fuck you. Anyway, I digress.
Speaking of retired, Mike, how are you?
What?
Because you're old.
Just trying, you're tired, you're retired,
I thought it's because he's old.
I am retired. I am tired.
You're negotiating for retirement at 45 and
I'm tired again.
Contract.
I'm tired again. Again. Yes. Retired. I'm doing well. Good weekend. I was on call. I put in 11 hours on Saturday. Got to watch our favorite football club still in between my cases, which was great. I got to punch out and actually watch the game without any interruption.
You wish you were working, right?
So I wish I was working. Could have used that extra couple of hours of time and a half pay. But on Sunday, Mother's Day, Steve just told his Mother's Day story. Amy and I we don't do a lot of celebrating of holidays and that kind of stuff together. We don't get big ornate gifts like Steve, said. And it is all about experiences and stuff and just spending the day together. And that said, the kids decided they didn't want to spend the day with their mother.
Which she really appreciated. It was the best Mother's Day ever.
So I was like, I was at work at the time and finishing up my cases at like 10 o'clock in the morning. I said, why don't you come down here? We'll go to the Home Depot, get some flowers for our planter boxes and to do all that stuff out. Last weekend we went and got our blueberry bushes and that kind of stuff. So we got some flowers and that kind of stuff. And then we spent our time together. They were having a nice lunch at Jersey Mike's, which, believe it or not, is a better sandwich than I thought it would be.
Oh yeah, it's a good sandwich.
Good sandwich.
You get the steak and cheese by chance, the Chipotle steak and cheese or whatever it is?
No.
Go back and get that one.
You got to get the classic Italian.
Just trust me. Give the steak and cheese a shot. You won't regret it.
All right. I'll do that. But and then we came home and we just kind of spent the day lounging around, sitting on the deck. We're going to put the flowers in the boxes and then realize that, oh, fuck, it's still May and there's going to be a frost, even though it was like 80 degrees 2 days earlier. Now it's like 54 degrees outside. And, but, it was a good weekend, spent some good time with my wife. Now that the kids are older, we get to spend more time together. And not so much time having to worry about, what the kids are doing, where they are, that kind of stuff. I'm sure we'll have that again once they start going out and hanging out with their own friends by themselves. But, we're taking advantage of this time. It's kind of like getting to know each other as human beings and as partners. So it's kind of a great time for us. And, we were just commenting the other day, sitting out on our deck about how quiet and how beautiful it is in Vermont. And I don't think I want to be any other place in the world. So we're lucky to have that.
Very, very true.
Yeah,
absolutely. Good weekend on my end as well. Saturday picked up the youngest son from college up in Burlington by you guys, moved him out and got him moved back home. So all the stuff that goes with that, I'll tell you about Saturday evening in a moment, but on Sunday, Mother's Day, got a little workbench set up for my wife in the garage, which she was excited about. And then we had the mother-in-law over for dinner and hanging out, watching a movie, doing a combo birthday and Mother's Day thing. So it was all good. Saturday evening, I got to tell you guys, so Beth, my son Nate, and I, we sat around and we watched the finals of Eurovision Song Contest. Have you guys ever done this? You ever spend any time with Eurovision Song Contest? Holy crap, man. And to our European friends, holy crap. Like what a cluster that is. And it's like a train wreck. You cannot look away because it's so campy and cheesy, but you just might see something amazing right around the corner. It's absolutely amazing. And then yesterday we watched the Will Ferrell movie version of it, just to kind of bring it all home. Yeah,
it's similar. That whole thing is similar to what the reason I used to watch American Idol.
Yeah,
which was for like
similar vibe for sure.
Yeah. Some of those like terrible auditions and the soul crushing moments when Simon would be like, "Holy fuck, you're terrible. I don't know who told you were good, but you're terrible." So like some of those moments, that's what I love about American Idol and that show. It is a train wreck.
It is. And I found myself saying like, all right, so that act is the best one that country had to throw into this thing. Like, it's just amazing to think about how those people got there. Wow. Can't wait till next year. Cannot wait till next year. Steve, any experience with the Eurovision Song Contest?
Yeah, we used to watch that as kind of like a joke. It would be like a fun drinking game. Like you just throw it on and get a couple of beers, just sit there and just shoot the shit for a while. It was I thought it was quite enjoyable. Not in this is a good quality piece of programming kind of way, but rather in oh my God, like how absolutely fucking ridiculous is this?
Yeah. 60 years. 60
I
years that's been going on.
I swear some of those countries have got to do it on purpose. Like they must know how bad their performance is, and they're doing it for like the laughs.
Yeah. And if that's the case, like kudos to you, like you're
mission
crushing
fucking
it.
Accomplished.
Yeah, you are absolutely, you own your stuff and you're crushing it. But speaking of not owning stuff and crushing it, I didn't get to watch any of the Spurs match because I was moving the kid out of college. And I told you guys,
Dave.
Yeah, go ahead.
Have you seen any Spurs game over the last like month?
Probably not. And we've sucked during that span of time. So maybe it's all on me, but I didn't get to watch this one. No, and then I asked you guys if I should.
We've been great. They've sucked.
This is true. You guys affirmed I shouldn't even waste my 2 hours. So I am straight up cold. All I've got is like reading some Alistair Gold commentary on Twitter. So that's what I'm working off of, which is probably more exciting than the match was. But
I just saw your name.
Whose, Steve's or mine?
No, yours, Dave.
Yeah. Here to help. And to our listeners, you'll have to check out our YouTube feed to find out what our special names are.
I almost blew it.
You did, yeah. Keep it quiet. Yeah, keep it quiet. But hey, yeah, let's talk about that match, or how about you guys talk about that match, and I'll pretend that I know a little something and try to facilitate the conversation. Mike, you want to get it going?
Oh boy, you're gonna let me go first. Imagine
yeah,
that.
I may as well. We'll give you a little
yeah. So, pardon me, Mike. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to be worse than that club. So without getting too, I sometimes I used to go through all of like the best performances and who did what that was great, who did what that sucked. I'm not going to do that now. Now I'm kind of at the point of kind of analyzing the game as a whole, trying to understand what the hell happened instead of looking at individual players. It's hard. I don't know what happened. I think that coming off the Crystal Palace performance, they thought, and this is why I think that Ryan Mason is not right for a Premier League coaching gig, thinking that he could just come in and use the same lineup and same tactics against Aston Villa, who was a completely different team than Crystal Palace was, come in and use the same exact tactics, and it was going to work. Villa's got a smart coach. Unai Emery's a smart coach. He's an intelligent coach. I don't like the fucking guy, but he's an intelligent coach. And I think that that he was able to game plan for Spurs better than Spurs were able to game plan for him. He knew that Spurs crumble under the press. He knew that Spurs have trouble getting balls over the top. He knew that Spurs have trouble controlling the midfield, and he exploited all those things with what I call very average, mostly pretty average players, Premier League players. You know, but what I came away with from that game was that not that Spurs. I don't think that Aston Villa were a great team. I don't think they had a great game. I think it was a pretty maybe average to below average performance. I think that Spurs were just that bad. That first half, and I think we had talked on the WhatsApp chat, Steve, on the Green Mountain Spurs WhatsApp about how this might be another one of those tale of two halves games, but we have to look at kind of Spurs now. I understand what's going on there, and it's something that we've talked about, and I've not wanted to kind of accept it. Is that this team, these players on this team, there's a lot more going on there than just shitty tactics, bad lineups, bad clubhouse guys, bad manager, bad owner. I think that there are deficiencies on the field. I think that the players themselves are not now. I don't think that they're good enough to be in a top level team. There's a lot of players out there that are not good enough at the simple basic things that we need to see out of a good team. The way we've been playing the second half of the season, we are a probably close to relegation team. I just think that the players we have out there are not good enough to control the midfield. They're not good enough to play out of the back. We have players up front that are supposed to be world-class players that can't make simple runs and stay on side. Like the small things that kids learn, small things that my son finally picked up at 10 years old, which was how to make a run, how to watch a pass, how to understand where to receive a ball, how to understand where to pass the ball, and when to be patient and when to, kind of be on your horse. And Spurs just aren't doing that. And that's because I don't think it's because that they're down or whatever. I don't think that they're always capable of it. Crystal Palace, we exploited the fact that they didn't press us at all. At all. They let us just pass the ball around. Any fucking U12 team can fucking pass the ball around if the other team lets them do it. Spurs just can't do it. I think Oliver Skipp had some great performances this season. I don't think he's good enough to play on this team. I think Oliver Skipp needs to go, honestly. And I don't think he just needs a loan. I think he needs to be sold. He's not good enough to play on this team. And that's evidenced by the fact that in the second half, a guy came in that's been injured. He's not even had time to come back into form, just got into the game and looked like the player that I thought he was going to be from day one. And that was Basuma. Basuma was fucking fantastic.
Are you telling me that a player can just come back off of injury and get into form and make an impact, as opposed to needing 6 to 8 games to bed in and find their feet?
Whatever it was, like I said, Aston Villa I don't think they're a great team. I think they've been playing very well lately, and Unai Emery has them playing well and has them believing. Belief can get you a lot, but it doesn't get you where you absolutely need to go. But Basuma, Basuma may have been able to exploit that and use it as a game to get better and get to where he needs to be. But also, he's a little freer under Ryan Mason than he was under Conte. He's free to not have his fucking, back to the goal the entire fucking game. He's free to move forward. He's free to be creative with the ball. We don't have anybody who can be creative with the ball. for whatever reason, Højbjerg isn't allowed to be the same player that he is on his national team as he is on the Spurs. Right. We have a guy who won a Golden Boot last year who can't make simple, basic runs. I think that Son probably was one of our best players last week, but outside of Pedro Porro, who we can get onto later too. But like, it's just there. We don't have the players that can make up a team. And we don't have the skilled players that can make up a team that's going to ever compete for anything, let alone a championship, let alone a cup, a fucking Carabao Cup even. I don't even think this team could win an Audi Cup or whatever the fuck that preseason shit is that they played. I honestly, looking at this team, I don't see a player that is skilled enough to stay on this team outside of possibly Harry Kane. And Steve, Steve thinks I hate Brazilians, but Richarlison, I'm willing to give him a little more time, but for me, the dude is a bust. He's an absolute bust. And I'll let Steve take it from there.
Well, hold on, Steve, before you go, Mike, I want to hear you. I want to hear you stretch it out. I heard you say essentially Richarlison needs to go. You didn't say those words, but that's the
Skippy.
Skip needs to go. Who else needs to go? Because this is a major leap for you. You have been like the defender of if they just have the right system and it just had the right this or right.
Yeah,
that.
and I think
I want to hear who goes.
Like I said at the beginning of that rant, is like, I now know that I see
they all go.
I think a lot of them go.
A lot of them go. Even Harry Kane, right?
Harry Kane can go if we get the money for him.
Romero, would you let him go?
No.
So then not all then.
Not all. I think that Romero, I think has shown that when he's got good defenders around him, I think Emerson can stay. Emerson could be.
Who'd have thought we'd ever say that? Right?
No, dude, he's a defender. He's an actual defender. Who can play defense.
Well, speaking of Brazilians, Steve, what do you think?
Well,
see what I did there, Mike?
That was great.
You gave it to me. I had to take it. You just left it there, so I needed to use that one.
I think this is a good conversation because I actually disagree.
Good.
I personally think that the state of the club right now and how disjointed everything is, we don't have a director of football, we don't have a permanent manager. It doesn't seem like the ownership is really doing all that much to rectify either of those. You saw the reports coming out that, we weren't actually in for Nagelsmann. And, I think Alistair Gold came out and was like, well, if that's true and we weren't in for him, then it shows complete ineptitude at the top. And if it's just them saving face because they're going to be turned down, then it's just embarrassing. So it's a lose-lose either way. But the reason that I disagree is mostly because I don't think there's a single player in the world who can come into Spurs in its current state and change anything. You could get fucking the Terminator himself, Erling Haaland, could come in to this team and he would not score a single fucking goal because of how awful we are at setting anybody up for success. That's where I struggle with it. I think it's mostly the result of a disconnect between the front office staff, the executives, the higher ups, the managers, the players. I don't think there's any accountability for the players. I don't think if they put in a bad performance that anything happens to them. It's not like they're being forced to run laps or, pay fines or do whatever you might do to punish somebody at the top level. I don't get the sensation that any of that shit's happening. I don't know that they really care enough to put the effort in because, if Mason ends up being the permanent manager, I think we've got bigger problems, but in all likelihood, he's not getting that job, right? So why should they put in any effort to figure out what Mason's trying to do? It's not worth it. There's 2 games left. Who the fuck cares? That is just such a toxic culture to be in. And it's kind of spread throughout the organization. I'm sure there are players that Mike's absolutely right, do need to go. I don't know that the back of the last couple of months is really enough of a justification to decide whether or not somebody is good enough or not. Because I honestly do not believe there's a single player in the world who can come in and make a difference at Spurs right now. There needs to be wholesale changes top to bottom before we can get the club performing at the level that we as fans expect them to be performing at. And the thing that kind of caps it all for me is you can see exactly what's going to happen every fucking week. You know, we go into these games, we can see it early, we end up losing the game, and then you get some token player who puts out a social media post, not the result we wanted, but we still have X number of games left in the season and we're going to fight for you. It's a different fucking player every week. You know, it's the same fucking message every goddamn time. Basuma's the poor bastard who had to post it on social media this time. But it's like, you know.
Yeah, because he knows he's going to play the next 2 games. He's probably going to start, right?
but you know, every time this gets posted, there's no change in the squad. The players aren't playing as if there's 3 games left in the season, 2 games left in the season. They're not doing that. They're just playing as if the season's over. Who gives a shit? And, you know, we need somebody, director of football, permanent manager, please not Mason. Somebody's got to come in and they really need to just fucking drill these guys, get that loser ass mentality out of the players. And if the players don't want to perform at an expected level of a top class club, then they need to get the fuck out. Mike's absolutely right. There's not a single player that I would protect, right? But they need to show it under not just the players, but the club as a whole needs to show that they have stability, that they've got a manager that they are going to back 100% of the way, do it his way, or get the fuck out. That's got to be the approach next season. I don't see anything changing this season. I would not be surprised if our next game, even if it's the last home game of the season, I don't see them going out there and making anybody proud. You know, they might put in a solid 10 or 15 minute stretch where, you know, they've got it together. But is that going to be because, you know, they're growing into the game, or is it going to be because there's 15 minutes left in the game and they're behind and need to get something?
We're playing Brentford, right? Do we genuinely think we'll beat Brentford? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I mean, Look, I wouldn't be shocked if we did, but if we lost, that's where I'm at right now. Like if we lost, it's like, yeah, that's expected. When that first goal went in after 8 minutes of play, I literally just said to myself, well, yeah, that's par for the course.
That tracks.
Yeah, that was bound to happen.
You know what the best thing about this weekend's match is? I think it's a 7:30 a.m. match for us. So like on Saturday. So the match will happen and then like there's still a whole weekend ahead to recover from it. Isn't that beautiful?
You know, I'm going to watch that game. Win or lose, probably lose because we can't have anything nice. I'm just going to shut the TV off. I'm going to walk down to the bakery, get myself a delicious scone or something, walk around the farmer's market and completely forget about it, because if they don't give a shit, why should I?
You do have a nice setup there too, Steve. That's a nice little bakery. You got that farmer's market right at the end of the street. That's good setup there.
Steve could also just hop in the truck with me, take a drive down to Newton, Mass, and watch Vermont Green play.
Oh yeah, you going to see the Green?
I'm going to see the Green on Saturday. Opening game against Boston Bolts, man.
Now there's a team who's actually going to fucking play for something.
Dude, they have like 3 of the best defenders in the country this year. It's fucking great. I'm so excited about it.
All right, so listen, Mike, both of you, here's your job. When you see both of my sons next week, I need you to work on them on how fun Green matches are. That way I'll have triple the ammunition for road trips to come up and check out home games.
Oh, that's not gonna be a problem at all. Like they go to one game, it's just gonna be like, oh shit. Like they just come into the they just come to the parking lot with the bohoys.
The bohoys. Bohoy there, matey.
It's a play on the Celtic thing. Yeah. Okay.
We know. We got you. When's the first match? When's the first Green match?
Saturday.
No, I mean home. I'm sorry, home match.
Oh, the first home match is next Friday,
The 26th.
the 26th. I will not be there. I'll be in Massachusetts at my son's tournament, but
Oh, I'll be there. I will be at that game. I am so pumped.
Very
Yep.
nice.
yeah.
Very nice.
Well, yeah.
You know, Steve, got a little something on my mind.
Dave, what is it?
Well, it's not how good is the wine up in northwestern Vermont. It's
Oh,
not.
we've covered
how,
that. Yeah.
It's not how bad our Spurs. What a disgrace they might be, and how just numb to it all we've become.
Yeah, check that box too. Yeah.
It has to do with our friend Mike, not Jersey Mike, because
This Mike?
this Mike
Jersey Mike is a sub above.
is up above. It's not Mike is in microphone. It's Mike is in. Hey, Mike, what you drinking?
Oh shit. Dave, I love it when you ask that question.
I know you do.
Is it this for me? This doesn't get stale. This is fun every week.
I think we might be the only three people that enjoy this little intro.
I know.
but
I've
it's
actually
fun every
had
time.
somebody be like, who was like, was it Vass who was like, man, this is going on forever.
I remember when we had Flav on. He's like, "So you guys like beer? You like to talk about beer a lot?" Like, yeah, thanks, Flav. Thanks for noticing.
I can just feel our listeners hitting that fast forward button through the
It's fine,
podcast
Flav.
right now.
Yeah, they're like 15 seconds. 15
Flav
seconds,
found out we were
15
from New
seconds.
England. Flav found out we're from New England, and he thinks we have sharks here. So
Hey, he
Cheers.
saw Jaws. It's close
did-
enough, right?
That's precisely right.
dude loves fucking sharks. It's okay, man. So today, boys, I went down to I had Friday off. So Thursday I had to bring my wife was down with her mother. They had to go. My mother-in-law had a procedure on her hand, and my wife went down there with her, and I had the kids. Lily was at home. Obviously, she's old enough to stay at home, and Lucas was at practice. So I said, "What the hell am I going to do for 2.5 hours?" I said, "I'm going to go down and to Weird Window and see if they have any new beers on tap." I went down and I saw that they have some new beers on tap, and I had a beer, and I actually had 2 beers. And then I said, "Oh, I'm going to save this beer for the podcast." So this is a new one I haven't seen there yet, called Space Movie, Weird Window Brewing. I love this place. Every single one of their labels looks exactly the same.
Yeah, don't love their labels, but yeah, I know.
I'm
the
cool.
beer's
I'm
good.
cool with it because like they're not. It's like they're they're not trying too hard.
No, definitely not trying.
So that's what I kind of love about it. They're not trying hard. They're not trying to like make the beer inside the can better because of the label is fucking cool. They're just saying, let's let the beer talk for itself. And I always like that about breweries. Now that said, I don't like they got a brown ale I'm not a fan of. When a brewery has a beer that I'm not a fan of, you know what I do? I don't trash the brewery. I will trash a brewery if there are like 3 or 4 beers that I'm not a fan of. You know what I'm saying? Because it means that most of them are probably fucking bad. But when a brewery has one beer that I don't like that much, you know what I do? I just don't drink it.
Novel
Amazing.
concept. Yeah.
I just won't
Incredible.
order another one.
This Mike, he's really on to something, isn't he, Steve?
I'm pretty fucking progressive, you know?
So you're telling me things you don't like, you don't go back to. Is that what you're saying?
I won't even give it a second try, but I don't sit there and trash like, oh, you know what? Just because I don't like the fillet of fish doesn't mean McDonald's is shit. McDonald's is actually delicious. It's really, really bad for you. It's actually poison, but I don't like the fillet of fish.
Mike
It's
just watched
gross.
Super Size Me 15 years later, right?
Oh God, can you imagine, dude? I forgot about that. Thanks a lot.
That was something else, yeah, for sure.
That guy is a fucking lunatic. So this beer is called Space Movie. It's we're going back to the New England IPAs, something we know. 6.5% alcohol. Doesn't say anything about the hops. Steve is probably pulling up a review of it right now. It's Lone Freighter on that.
In fact, I did look it up, and it is so new that there's only one person who rated it, and they didn't write anything about it.
What
But
a
I can see
douchebag.
that it was added on May 4th of this year.
That's that new. Holy shit.
Ooh, on Star Wars Day, space movie, Star Wars.
May the
See that?
4th be with you. Yeah.
Oh, might be a bogus review.
No, yeah, that tracks because this was Canon 412, and they usually
right.
it's about a month of conditioning before they put it out. That makes a lot of sense.
Steve, what are you drinking there while Mike's doing his magic?
I am drinking something from Four Quarters Brewing called Flood of Sunshine.
That sounds a little bit like a bitey sort of a beer name.
It tastes like hoppy mango.
I'm not okay. That's a brewery that, again, I don't trash. I don't like any of their beers. I have like 2 beers there that I like.
But Mike, let me ask you: if you're Lawson's and you have lots of sunshine, and somebody comes out with Flood of Sunshine, are you filing a lawsuit on that one?
No, I think that the thing about Vermont breweries is that they collaborate a lot. They work together, because they're initially when the craft beer scene started, their cans were trying to be pushed out of the coolers, right, by the big breweries. They kind of banded together and said we have to work as a team here, all the breweries, whether you're new or not, and like they get pointers and tips from each other. All the brewers, they all hang out together and shit, probably.
See, that's kind of insider knowledge I'm looking for. There you go.
This is actually a collab now that I'm looking at it with Minor Key Brewing.
Ooh.
But it's funny. I took my first sip of this and went, wow, this is ass. And then I just kept drinking it and was like, you know what? I don't hate it.
Such is true with life.
Hotspur,
right?
Much like Tottenham Hotspur.
And I know this is hey Mike, but it's just one of those things where like as soon as I recognize that I'm just tasting mango and hops, I was like, okay, I can get on board with this. I love mango. Once I identified the mango flavor, it's good shit.
Amy had a mango cider a couple weeks ago. It was fucking awful. She took one sip of it and she was like, oh my God, this is gross. Taste it. And of course, I did, and it was pretty bad. Anyway, this beer is fucking hazy.
Looks hazy, juicy, right?
It doesn't. Yeah, it smells juicy. A little piney.
Juicy like Biggie.
Like Lizzo.
Okay.
Oh, Mike loves Lizzo. Don't get him started on that again.
How could I not? Oh, it's going back for more.
Going back. Oh,
I like the head nod. That's promising.
Yep. And by the way, speaking of the head, it's a 1 finger, less than 1 finger. Looks a little soapy, maybe. Not a biscuit.
No, definitely not a biscuit.
All right. It's a pretty good damn beer.
That's a pretty good beer. It's a pretty good goddamn beer. It's very reminiscent of one of my favorite beers. Very reminiscent of a Focal Banger.
Good one.
Like Focal Banger, it's a single IPA. Around the same ABV. I think Focal Banger's actually up around 7 or 8. But it's a pretty good New England style IPA. Any brewer will tell you it's pretty hard to fuck up an IPA. I think I've talked about this before. I have fucked up an IPA. But like any good brewer will tell you it's hard to fuck up an IPA, especially like a New England style IPA, because you use so much hops that like lots of times your malt and your grain bill get lost in the beer. This doesn't do that. The hops are there. I guarantee there's a shitload of Cascade in there. There's probably some Citra. I'm not positive what else is in here. But maybe some El Dorado.
Now you're just making shit up.
I'm really not. But I can tell you that this is a really good IPA. I like it. I don't necessarily know that I'll go back if I see it on a menu. I'll drink it. Like if I go to a bar or a tap house, I'll definitely get another one. I bought 2 4-packs, so I'll indulge myself. Dave, I just saw your rating.
Oh, damn.
You sent it to
I
everybody.
meant to send that to Steve instead of everybody.
That's okay.
Well, was I right?
Yeah, 3.6. I was gonna go 3.6.
Damn it.
Since Steve did the 3.7, I was trying to give a little wiggle room, so you struck it right in between, buddy. Damn.
Yeah. This beer I like it. It's a really good beer. It's a pretty basic IPA, New England IPA, but it hits well. Like it tastes good. There's no like off or sour taste to it. It's just bitter and, like you said, juicy, like Lizzo, and delicious.
Mike, anytime I hear someone say basic, you know what I think of? I think of that. Did you guys see that Anna Delvey series? You know who Anna Delvey is?
Not a fucking clue.
You're so basic. I'm going to leave that with you guys and let you look that up and learn about it. Your wives will enjoy that watch. You're so
I'm sure
so basic.
that sounds like something Amy be into. Yeah. So I love it.
All right. 3.6. How about a song?
Kiss. Shock Me.
Why?
Right now?
Because I'm actually pretty shocked with with how much I like the beer. I'm shocked that it has a lot of the same taste and it gives me a lot of the same feels that a Focal Banger does. It's not quite the same. It's not a perfect beer like Focal Banger, nearly perfect beer. But I was pretty shocked to find that I actually really enjoyed this basic IPA. Also
basic.
Did I say it right?
You did. That's pretty good, man. Well done.
That's so basic.
Good God. What have we become?
Also it kind of evoked the name kind of evoked little Ace Frehley in me. So Shock Me is sung by Ace Frehley.
Even though I'm drinking wine right now, you've made me want to go grab an IPA out of the basement fridge.
Really?
That's good. And is Focal Banger legit like your favorite beer? Like, is that your, like, if you were going to die in an hour and you were told you could have one last beer, would that be the one?
It might be close.
Close with what?
Oh shit!
I know this is a really heavy question. I'm going hard tonight, but just struck me.
God, there's a couple. I think Double Sunshine is one of my favorite beers. Double Sunshine's like the original Double Sunshine, not the shit that they come out with now. That's Double Sunshine. Like they do like the grapefruit one in the summertime.
Yeah. No thanks.
But geez, that's
tough
a
question,
great,
huh?
Yeah. That's a fantastic question.
Let me ask you something, Mike, because you seem to be in the know, as the kids say, when it comes to this whole music thing. Ace Frehley, is he related to that guy IP?
I think they're brothers.
Yeah. What?
You don't know him?
No, who's IP?
Ace Frehley's brother, I guess.
I don't get it.
You don't know?
Are you making a joke? Okay, now I'm looking.
Mike doesn't know IP Frehley.
Steve, another Simpsons reference, man.
Oh my God.
Hey, Mike, I'm looking for Amanda. Is Amanda there? Is Amanda there? I'm looking for Amanda. Amanda
who? Amanda who?
Hug a kiss.
Is there Amanda Hug and Kiss here?
There you go. Well done.
All right.
No
fantastic.
IP Frehley for Mike. Steve, so 8th grade of you, but yeah, I was with you.
I can't think about Kiss and not think about the fantastic movie Role Models.
That is a great movie.
We have detoured, but I think our football club has done this to us. If I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Look, let's be honest. To all our listeners out
I
there,
actually just looked up IP Freely, just so you know.
Did you spell it like Ace Freely?
I did.
What showed up? What showed up when you Googled that? I gotta know.
It said, did you mean IP Freely?
Did it really?
Yes.
Oh, incredible. I'm sure our listeners would rather us laugh about this bullshit than try to make sense of the absolute travesty that is our club over the last several months.
Oh,
There is someone on LinkedIn named IP Freely who lists themselves as the CEO of the IPF Corporation. So there you go. There you go, Steve.
IPF.
the answer is the most perfect beer I've ever had is Squeeze by Great Rhythm.
What?
Squeeze by Great Rhythm Brewing.
I've never heard of either one of them.
The beer is one of the most perfect beers I've ever had in my life.
What kind of beer is it?
It's a double IPA. No, it's an IPA, single IPA. They also have one called Double Squeeze.
Where's that brewery out of?
Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
I had a feeling you were going to say that. Like I knew that was the place.
It wasn't there. It wasn't there when I lived there.
But you've made a few return trips, pilgrimages, if you will.
What
Yeah.
the fuck?
What?
This person describes it as dank, pungent, oniony, and delicious.
Oniony?
Oniony.
Squeeze?
Yeah.
Oniony.
Oniony. That was the word.
I'd love to punch that person in the face.
That's it.
I bet it gets high fours though, or mid fours.
4.25 this guy gave. Seth Meister from New Hampshire.
Yeah, he's a real Seth Meister.
Mike, you're a pacifist. You're not punching anybody in the face here.
No, I'm definitely not.
You're like the dude.
I've been. That's dude. That's why I have that as my name now.
I see it now. That's good. Well done. The dude abides. All right, fellas, where are we going with this? We've managed to just.
Dave, you've just inspired me. I know how to solve the club.
Let's hear it.
We just need a nice rug to tie it all together.
It ties the whole room together, right? Like
we just need that. We need that rug to tie the whole club together. That's what's missing. A rug.
That's why Pierre Hoiberg has been so shit lately. He's a nihilist.
We could call, you know what we could call the rug, Steve? Rodrigo Bentancur.
Oh, yes.
Mike likes that. He loves himself a little silky rug, don't you, Mike?
Oh, a nice silky rug. You know what?
Mike's currently Googling how to leave a podcast.
Yeah.
Actually, I Googled silky rug, and you don't want to know what came up.
Nope, I don't.
Maybe if NordVPN was our sponsor, we could talk about it.
Yeah, but we can't. We cannot.
Nord, our VPN sponsorship opportunity is open if you would like to take advantage.
They sponsor fucking everybody but Wicked Spursy. We can't even get a ball hair trimmer. I don't know.
What, you think football fans don't deserve internet protection? I mean, come on.
They absolutely do.
Mike's only goal is to get a ball hair trimmer out of this whole arrangement. That's what he's looking for. Mike, I wonder if
year of NordVPN. I think even like fucking Flav has to pay for it.
What about United and Green? Are you guys racking up the numbers there? Like you got subscriber or not subscribers, but promotions on your way or sponsors on your way?
Not Nord going to let you promote their internet condom.
I think once Roger's on, that we might get ourselves.
There you go.
I mean that'll probably pump us up, but like we're not getting. The numbers have kind of dwindled because no one wants to listen to. Well, some people do want to listen to our preseason interviews and stuff.
Mike, what you need a segment. You need a segment that just draws the people in. Like, hey, Mike, what you drinking? You need something for the people that's going to attract that random person in Utah to listen to some Vermont-based sports podcast.
I've got it. A segment called "Hey, Steve, what you smoking?" And it'll just be me on crack the whole time.
That could work. Well, Steve, wait, did you get your invite onto the United and Green pod? already?
No, of course
I
not.
was going to say, because if you did, I was about to throw blows with Mikey over
No,
here.
No, they don't want any crackheads on there. Even though I don't do crack, they just assume
They do assume.
the erratic nature of my
The problem,
persona.
the thing about United in Green, is that we just to kind of get the pod off the ground, wanted to do these preseason interviews and stuff with players.
Yeah,
and
I've listened to them.
coaches.
They're good. They're cool.
Yeah. They're pretty, again, so basic.
So
And
basic.
fun.
I mean, they're like 21 years old. What do you expect?
I think we've got our podcast title, by the way. If it's not so basic,
It's
then
done. Absolutely done.
I think United and Green, once we start doing games, which next week will be games, we'll have our first game to review. It's going to be a little more difficult than doing a podcast with a Premier League team. I was going to say a big, a big professional team, because we're not a big team. But I think once we get those games going and we're in the stands and in the crowd and watching the game, we'll be able to break down those games. It's going to be a little tougher. We'll probably have to go back and watch the video of the game to break it down a little more. But
Sure.
I think that it's going to be fun, a fun kind of undertaking. So that'll be
Very
cool.
cool.
Anyway,
all right, let's stay on the
enough
random.
of me.
Let's stay on the random tip. I just got a random idea for you guys.
Ooh.
Only because something random crossed my mind today. So I'm going to ask you, what's the most ridiculous thing you've thought of in the last 24 hours? Steve, go. Most ridiculous thing in the last 24 hours.
The most ridiculous thing that I've thought of in the last 24 hours has probably got to be something work related. For context, and for those of you who are listening and don't know, my full-time job is an analyst. I look at numbers. I tell people what I think they should do based on what the numbers tell me. And I found myself thinking in the middle of a meeting today, if only people would just fucking do what I tell them to do weeks in advance, I wouldn't have to have such pointless fucking meetings first thing on a Monday. And that's probably the most ridiculous thought I've had, because it's never going to happen. Nobody's ever going to take my advice first time. They're going to need to be told 3 or 4 times. And then finally, they come up with this idea for themselves.
Or they'll say, Steve, why didn't you tell us this? Right? Why didn't you point this out to us?
Yeah, then I break out the receipts. Here's the email that I sent you. Here's the chat log that I saved.
Bingo. Michael, how about you? What's the most ridiculous thing you thought of in the last 24 hours?
Why the fuck can't penguins fly?
They fly underwater, obviously.
Ooh, because they can swim. That's right.
Then why?
I
They're
didn't
not
say
a
they
fucking.
could swim. I said they fly underwater, Dave.
My bad. Yeah, I put that
That's.
wrong.
I mean, that's pretty ridiculous. That's pretty fucking ridiculous thing to think of.
That's ridiculous. All right, here's mine. And I realize this is the reason I asked this question earlier today. And I don't know if you guys had this experience or not. I know that I often share these random things from my childhood that come up. So I got another childhood thing. Did you guys watch the Bozo Show when you were growing up at all?
Like Bozo the Clown?
Bozo the Clown, yeah, on WGN. Did you ever get to see Bozo the Clown?
No, I was born in the 90s.
Fair point.
Also, WGN didn't happen until the 90s for me.
Really? Didn't happen? All right. Well, then I have to tell you about.
We had
Bozo,
WPIX here, so we had just.
So on the Bozo Show, and here's how, like, when I was a kid in like elementary school, here's how mornings went. Mighty Mouse was on at 6 o'clock in the morning. I would watch Mighty Mouse. Then Bozo came on at 6:30, and you watch Bozo before you had to leave for school. And one of the things Bozo did is they had the Bozo buckets. You guys ever heard of the Bozo buckets? Where they pick a kid randomly out of the audience, and there's these 6 buckets in a line.
Oh God!
And all the kid has to do is throw a ping pong ball in each bucket. Oh. Right. And I dreamed of being that kid. First of all, you had to get to the show in order to be that kid. So I was never at the show. So I never actually had a chance, but you could win everything from like a little package of cookies all the way up to a Schwinn bike and $100 bill, a crisp $100 bill at that. And I was flashing back on that earlier today, just regretting that I never had the opportunity to be the kid that got picked to do the Bozo buckets on the Bozo Show. And you guys are looking at me like I'm a freaking moron as I say that. So
I don't. I'm not. I'm not thinking you're a freaking moron, but now I'm thinking back, like I had some other ridiculous thoughts.
I
Um,
always wanted to.
Let's hear them.
um, I why did my dad always take me to a CD bar when we were going to the Red Sox games? That's one of them.
Do you have
I
an
was-
answer to that, or is that just a
No,
wonder?
no.
Huh?
Why was it okay that I was like eye level with dudes' dicks at baseball games, going to the bathroom and the fucking urinals?
I don't
Like-
think you were at a baseball game.
Like
Well, there's some-
trough urinals, right, Mike? Not
The fucking trough urinals.
the trough urinals,
We've
yeah.
talked about this, right?
yeah,
Before?
we have.
So for all you
Eye level with dicks would be another good podcast name too. We'll save that one.
for all you listeners, like Fenway Park back in the 80s until like the new ownership group, till Fenway Sports Group, who owns Liverpool, bought the Red Sox. Fenway Park was a fucking beautiful hovel of a fucking stadium to go
So
to.
Mike, you were thinking about our Soxy weekend that's coming up in September is what you were thinking
I've
about,
been
right?
thinking a lot about that too, and it's like,
Yeah.
man, if only Dave and I were 15 to 20 years younger, we would fucking rule that place for the whole weekend. What's probably going to
but
happen
no.
is we're going to meet Jake. We'll have a great time at the ball game, maybe drink too much, maybe go out for dinner afterwards,
Maybe.
go back to the hotel and fall the fuck asleep.
You
Yeah.
know, if
All
it
good-
makes you
all
feel
good
any
guesses.
better-
And
If it
then
makes you
we're
feel
going to go
any
to the
better.
game the next day.
Bingo.
If it makes you feel any better, Mike, as somebody who's 15 to 20 years younger, give or take, I absolutely would not own that place. I need to be in bed at a reasonable hour, well hydrated,
Well hydrated.
have to have my anxiety meds close. I mean,
There are
fuck, dude, like
there are practical people in every age range, Stephen.
I will say this is just a fun story. It is soccer related, by the way. I once went to
Even better.
Yeah. We'll keep this somewhat relevant. I once went to a U.S. Men's team game down at Gillette Stadium, Foxborough, Massachusetts. I'll
be down there in 2 weeks.
Went as part of the American Outlaws, the U.S. supporters group. We did a little.
I believe that we will win.
Yeah, we did a little tailgating out there for several hours before the game. And we're driving down. We stopped off, we got a case of beer, and we got a couple of cases of water. We were the most popular people at that tailgate because we were the only people who had the foresight to bring water to a tailgate where everybody was going to be getting plastered on an 80-degree day in the middle of July. Everybody, You guys got water? Can we have some water? Yeah. Fucking we were best friends with everybody.
Tailgating is fun. That's good stuff.
Oh yeah, it was fantastic. Such a good time.
I'm gonna be down there for the Revs in a couple of weeks. My beloved Revs. And gonna be down there in a couple of weeks watching them play the Days Chicago Fire.
Very nice.
Yeah. It's going to be great. And our very own Vermont Green Zone, Matt Wolf, designed their logo.
Nice.
And their kits. Yeah. So that's pretty awesome. So we're going to get to see them with my son's group of kids. But
is that what it is? It's like a soccer team outing type of thing.
Yeah. So we got a tournament down in Needham, Massachusetts. It's pretty decent tournament. Lots of
Needham. Hardly know him.
Well, that explains why I didn't get an invite.
It's a pretty
I
decent
get it.
tournament. The kids always have fun. They all pack into the glass elevator in the hotel and go up and down and cause a lot of trouble, and because the kids are all best friends, and that's the way it should be. And the adults enjoy drinks, and then we go play some soccer games, and then we will go and actually watch the Revs hopefully win this time. Last year they lost to Philly, but it was a fun fucking game.
My kid says I'm his best friend. So
Well done, Steve. Well done.
yeah.
Just tell him not to say that around mom at all. Mom
Oh,
needs.
he says it all the time. It's hilarious.
Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, you got to cure him of that.
Are you mommy's favorite or daddy's favorite? Daddy's. I gave birth to you, damn it.
Yep. Yeah, that kid's risking his life. No question. Steve, believe it or not, we're there. Closing thoughts. What do you got to wrap us up?
Closing thoughts. I feel like a broken record at this point. This season has been over for me for weeks. It's just really disappointing that we're at the state where we can't even just enjoy a game, win or lose, because there's no reason, right? Like I said, the players don't feel like they're up for it. The leadership doesn't feel like they're doing anything to make it worth our while. I'm once again looking forward to these last two games just finishing up. So hopefully we can get some direction in the summer. Hopefully we can find somebody and really get behind them 100%. If it's the right candidate, fuck, if they get fucking Nuno Espirito Santo a second time, I'm just going to lose it. I love Ryan Mason. I think he has the potential to be a great coach one day, but he really needs to fucking go and figure himself out. Get a championship level gig or something, but we really desperately need somebody to come in here and really set the ship straight. But my closing thought actually has to deal with the bottom of the table, the relegation zone, which is incredibly tight. I would absolutely lose my shit. Spurs on the last day of the season play Leeds United, who are currently in the bottom three spaces. But who knows? 2 games left to play. If them and Everton, for example, lose this week, I could 100% see in our future a Spurs team going up against relegation threatened Leeds United
And losing.
who gifts Leeds the opportunity to stay in the Premier League at a team like Everton's expense, not because we're going to give it away to them, but because Spurs have been that bad that Leeds are probably looking at that game like, if there's one for us to win, it's got to be that one.
Steve, I got to tell you, I was on the Premier League app yesterday doing playing around, looking at the table, looking at who had what games left, and I had the exact same thought that you just described. It's nuts.
If Leeds stay up, mark my words, if Leeds manage to stay in the Premier League for next season, it'll be because they beat Spurs on the last day of the season.
Because we let them.
No,
right?
Because we suck.
Well, that too. Yeah, that too. Yep. Yuppers. Michael?
Leeds is tough. Leeds is tough, man. They have one of the fucking coolest, funniest managers on the planet. Like, nobody outside of Sean Dyche, nobody gives a fucking post-game interview like fucking Big Sam.
Nobody. Nobody has a bigger head than Big Sam. That guy's cranium is.
I don't know which podcast
enormous.
it was. I don't know which podcast it was I was listening to, but they're talking about Big Sam being like a Bond villain.
Yeah.
Like the Bond villain that tells Bond how to get out of the contraption he's in and save himself. But
the funniest thing about that
he does that at every single step in his post-game press conferences, where he just like he tells Bond how to get out of the crazy device that he's put him in, and then leaves the room and just thinks, yeah, he'll never get out though.
The funniest thing to me about his appointment to Leeds was I think when they appointed him, they still had 4 games left to play or something like that. And somebody had called out, bold of them to hire a manager like Big Sam when they've got 4 games left in the season and then boast that he has a 25% win rate in the Premier League.
I love me some Big Sam. You know what? If Spurs are going to be a laughingstock for the next 3 years, fucking hire Sam. Why not? At least we'll get some comedy out of it.
Don't say it. Levy might do it.
Jesus Christ, that dude's not listening to me, man. He's not listening to his fucking directors of football. He's not listening to fucking anybody.
He
So
doesn't
he's not,
have a director
he
of
doesn't
football.
he doesn't listen to he doesn't listen to his fucking fans. Like he doesn't listen to the fans. So why would he listen to like the people that that give him the money and pay his salary?
Poise, Daniel.
And
Boys, comma, Daniel.
that's gonna lead me into my final comments, which are Daniel Levy has at every single turn made the wrong decision with regards to the football club.
But hey, we got Beyonce.
That's true.
Madonna.
He has put the club into great financial position with the stadium, and don't give me COVID and the whole stadium debt and all that shit, because that shit's gone now. They're making money on the stadium, and all of that shit. He has made the wrong footballing decisions at every single turn. The best thing it would be for Daniel Levy to either go away, because that's what it's going to take for the footballing decisions to be removed from his hands, because the guy doesn't know. He knows less than fucking I do about running a football club. He makes the wrong decisions, and his decisions are affecting what is on the field. And what is on the field is a bunch of players who are not good enough as a collective to win Premier League games on a consistent basis. I mean, we were talking the same way in fucking late November last year, or the previous year, sorry, the previous season, when Conte finally got hired. And somehow this group of guys pulled it out because there were unknown quantities there, and whether it was Conte, whether it was Decky, whether it was Bentancur, there were unknown quantities that came into the club and changed things. But Levy has made the wrong decision every single turn with regards to footballing. The business side of things, you got to give him all. You got to give him all the plaudits. On the other side of it, with regards to Tottenham Hotspur, he's not made the right decisions. And so Daniel Levy, the best thing for Daniel Levy to do would be to hire a director of football and get his fucking hands off of this football club. Otherwise, they're going to be a mid to low mid table for the next decade, which we know, if done the right way, could be a good thing for this club. But I just think he needs to end his pursuit of being a football forward owner, or chairman, I should say. The end.
Very interesting. All right. Good thoughts. My closing thought is brief. Our
Haynes.
Nice. Our table position, I believe we're 7th at the moment. And I believe when I looked at the numbers, I want to say 8th was the lowest we could drop. I might be wrong. It could maybe be 9th, but our table position betrays our actual quality, because we are a 14, 15, 16th in the table quality team. Which means this season has been a great success, because we outstripped our level and performed higher. So with that, this has been Wicked Spursy. And Steve, what would you say as we go out the door?
Don't be an asshole.
And Mike, how about you?
Coins.
And
Be safe, everyone.
And yet we're still live.
YouTube,
Live
we're still here for you.
and
YouTube, we are still here.